Ping! Have you ever had one of those light bulb moments, aka an epiphany or a eureka moment? I had one today when speaking with a long-term patient about implementing changes in their plan and in their lifestyle to create the health that they want. I think it's very relevant for all of us and for you specifically. I'm Dr. John Bartemus, and I'm putting the pieces together to help you live a life at optimal. What was our eureka moment? It was simple. Are you good at adding something to your life, or are you better at taking something away? In what context? Well, in making changes, and in this context specifically changes to your health. In discussing this with the person, she was mentioning that she's really good at stopping things and restricting herself, say, for example, in not eating certain foods, but with recommendations where we say, add this, specifically relevant to the lifestyle, she's not so good at that. What am I talking about? Well, if we say, hey, don't eat wheat and dairy, she's like, okay, I can do that, that's easy. But if we say, hey, add a meditation practice to your daily life, that's the part of the plan where she really isn't as compliant. It's easy to add a supplement because you're just adding it with a meal, you're swallowing it down with your meal, but adding a meditation practice, for example, would add a separate block of time to her schedule where she would have to incorporate that in. And we were talking about it and we said, wow, this is probably way more common than we think or than we've noticed. And as a clinician, I would say it is. Probably in speaking to patients where they say, hey, I'm incorporating everything, but the but is typically the mindfulness practice, meditation, or adding time to their day to do something like breathing or meditation, for example. So this is important because the breathing, the mindfulness, those things are strategies to fight cortisol, to fight the stress response, and have multiple beneficial effects on your health. And if you're not doing it, you're not getting those, or you're not getting them to the level that is intended when I create the plan. And so this brought up the point, it's very easy for us to cut things out. We're good at that as a society. Hey, this is bad for you, cut it out. But we're not good at adding things, especially if those things take time. And that's where we can get caught up in not achieving the results that we desire because we're not adding time to our schedule to do the important things. We're already so busy and so hurried that, hey, how am I going to fit a mindfulness practice in when I got to do X, Y, and Z? Well, that right there is part of the problem and probably contributing to your health issue. You perceive that you have to do X, Y, or Z, which are probably busyness tasks and not really high priority things. And so the priority things like your health get sent to the back burner because you're doing busy. So just a thought and a eureka moment, an epiphany for myself and that person today that we thought would be important to share with everyone else, because as I look across my patient base, if there's one thing that people are least compliant with, it's adding time to their day to focus on themselves, to do a health creating activity that isn't as simple as just swallowing a pill real quick. It's actually, hey, you have to sit down and create the time. And piggybacking on top of that, a colleague of mine, Dr. Laura Sellier, this week posted a meme on Instagram that was a quote from some rabbi or yogi or something that said, since the rise of social media, our moments of quiet and reflection each day have been eliminated. Think about that. When you're in line, do you just wait patiently and quietly and maybe go within and relax? Or do you turn right to your phone and flip through Instagram or Facebook? So this is powerful because social media has eliminated spaces and spots in our day where we used to be quiet or used to maybe reflect on things and just think in our heads. Now we go straight to our phones. Well, that promotes anxiety, worry, digital dementia, things we've talked on previously. So if you really struggle to be quiet and calm and relax, those meditative practices or breathing or mindfulness practices that you have to create a slot for in your day are even more important, because whatever slots you used to have in your day before social media, those are even now gone. So just ruminate on this overnight and think about, am I better at adding something to my life or removing something to my life? And if I'm not good at adding something, what can I remove that is urgent but not important, and replace with something that's important and not necessarily urgent, but over the long haul is going to make a big time difference in your health and quality of life.